throw it on the chat after. All right, Kinderlachs, we're up to page 15. Oh, before we start, feedback. I know we had 2 weeks of 2 weeks of Akara Satov. Any good stories? No, Tay, really?
No. I mean, I think like I gave like 2 sincere thank yous.
2 in 2 weeks?
2 that I remember. Hopefully I did more than that, I would like to think.
You gotta up your game.
For me, I had some things going down in my household this past while. So like I did like keep in mind of like all the things I'm thankful for, that I have like the youth to be able to do things, and like breathing. It's just there was one night that I really like delved into it, just like thanking Hashem for like so much that I have.
Yep, not the easiest thing to do, but very, very rewarding. And remember, the whole purpose of it was to find a sense of humility. That's going to be the bridge, the roadmap to humility through Hakar Satov. So this is something that we should definitely keep doing in the coming weeks, even if the homework changes. It's still important to say thank you and recognize, when things came to help you out. Okay, so we are to be Sameach Befalko. Okay, we are up to page 59, number 12, piece number 12. Okay. Okay, the kasher tisnaheg b'midas anava, that when a person, the driving force is the humility, these boishes mikol adam, these pached mimenu. And then you stand in sort of an embarrassment. All person should be scared, obviously, before to be fearful in front of God, right? Sort of having that not humiliation, but sort of like a sense of humility in front of Hashem, honoring God and honoring others. Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel, known as the altar of Slobodka, constantly emphasized that all men are precious. Oh, there we go. That all men are precious, for they are made in the image of God, B'Tselem Elokim. When one showers others with kindness and respect, he thus also honors God himself. The first resolution, according to the altar's spiritual diary, was to be extremely careful of my fellow man's honor with patience, with a soft answer, never once to get excited, to find ways daily, at the very least weekly, of benefiting my friends. Yes, that's self-evident there. And everyday striving. Mesilas Yesharim in chapter 22 writes that although God has endowed every individual and with unique abilities, one should not become unduly proud on their account. Each advantage was merely to be shared. One who is wealthy may rejoice in his lot, but at the same time must help those in need. If one is strong, he must assist the weak. The situation of the world is similar to a large household where there are many different servants assigned to different tasks. Each servant must fulfill his own appointed chore if the affairs and needs of the household are to be managed properly. There is really no room for pride here. Furthermore, the Mesilas Yesharim develops an axiom to monitor one's response to fortune. As one's wealth increases, his pride should wane. His situation is similar to that of a beggar who accepts gifts of kindness, yet is also humble because of them. The more he receives, the greater his feeling of indebtedness. Thus, King David reacts to God's kindness by saying, how can I repay Hashem for all the kindness to me? So, perspective for a moment. When we talk about, we talked about this last year in Chavas Talmidim a lot, about how to look, what's the proper perspective that one should have on himself. And saying you look at your midos, right? You look at the positive character traits that you have that came naturally. You look at your fortune in terms of, the family you were born into. You look at let's say a person's good looking or charismatic. Let's say a person's really naturally smart, right? Being smart is not something that you can sort of increase or decrease. It's sort of get what you get. Some people have to work harder than others. It's just how it is. You can increase wisdom, but you sort of get what you get. If your brain processes information faster than the next guy, then that's just kind of how it is. So how does a person, what's the perspective to look at it, right? It's like you should humble yourself to recognize that those are tools that God gave you for your work here, right? That a person takes pride in them is kind of foolish, because it's like you didn't work hard for it. Right? You didn't work hard for that element of you, right? If you're a good looking person naturally, that's not something that you worked hard for. That's just something that God had given you. So to take pride in something that you didn't actually do is kind of ridiculous. Kind of ridiculous of a notion that a person should sort of humble themselves where they come, and then it's like sort of like, well, God gave it to you to use them to do what you're supposed to do with them. So what are you taking credit for? It's like that comedy bit of a person who's taking credit for the things that he is or isn't supposed to do, right? Like, I ain't never been to jail. You're not supposed to go to jail. It's not something you take pride on. If a servants have different tasks in the mansion for the upkeep, it's not something they should take pride in for themselves. It's a job that they need to do. Likewise, when we have certain character traits, when we have certain qualities or fortunes, external fortunes, right? That is given to us because we have a job to do, not to just revel in it. In addition to being a giant in Torah knowledge, Moshe Feinstein was also a paragon of piety and wonderful midos. Indeed, someone once asked Rav Moshe and the merit he has become so revered by all Jews. He replied, "I have never knowingly caused any hurt to any other human being." His respect for others manifests itself on the daily level. One man recalled how Ramosha once failed to notice him as he walked by. 10 steps later, Ramosha turned around, came back, greeted the man, and then, to make up for the oversight, spent some time conversing with him. One day, as Ramosha walked through the lobby of his apartment building, a woman held the front door open for him. The next day, Ramosha was in the lobby and noticed that the woman was approaching the door. This time, he rushed over to hold the door for her. No, no, she protested, but to no avail. Erasing the traces of arrogance. After concluding an address of the gathering on the east side, Ramosha quickly made his way towards the exit. As he neared the door, the chairman introduced the next speaker, a respected Rav of the east side congregation. Rav Moshe stopped at the door, turned back, retook his seat for the duration of the Rav's address. He feared that someone might misinterpret his exit as a lack of regard for the Rav, certainly not his intention. Someone who assisted Rav Moshe for a number of years was once asked him, "Why does the Rosh Hashiva permit phone calls to disturb during the day? Would it not be more practical to accept calls at specific hours only?" Rav Moshe replied, "There's a trace of arrogance in telling someone I cannot be disturbed and he must call me back at my convenience. That is not for me." After concluding a meeting, Rav Moshe and Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky stood in discussion with each other for a moment before entering a waiting car. As they took their seats, Rav Yaakov chose to sit next to the driver while Rav Moshe seated himself in the back. After Rav Moshe aligned from the car, Rav Yaakov explained that the driver's reason for the delay. We were discussing who would be getting off first. That person we decided should sit in the back. Were he to sit in the front, he would have left alone, and when he left the car, the remainder passenger would be in the back. It would have looked as though you were nothing more than a chauffeur. Okay, so Rav Moshe Feinstein is some real high level stuff in terms of like taking into account other people and his elevated stature. You would think this is a person who has every reason and every, if you wanted to justify being an arrogant person, he could have had it at his status, but never sort of lost his humility. He was saying this line here, "I've never knowingly caused any hurt to any other human being." Maybe you can say that's the cause of his rise to his glory. Halavai, if we can sort of do the same. Okay, so we're continuing on trying to build humility, and this is sort of through recognition of seeing the B'Tselem Elokim in other human beings, right? No other human being is I'm no better than any other human being. I think that's the message of this little piece over here, to recognize the godless in each and every person and not raising yourself above them. So for homework, definitely there should be something on the lines of Ben Adam Lechavero in terms of how we treat our fellow man. The question is what? What can we do that we can go a little above and beyond, coming from the lenses of humility, to not raise ourselves above our fellow man, even if in our heart we don't deem them worthy, or we think of them as, lesser people, let's say, right? Not people of esteem, but let's say, younger siblings or even friends who don't have the best decision making in general. Um, yeah, what do you got? Feist, the Brinkle, T-Dog. Sun's in my face.
Always making sure that we like never degrade people and that we're always putting ourselves like at equal standing or even beneath them as opposed to above.
So maybe like speaking extra politely to each person, like for a week, like being Anna. Yeah, should we,
Now,
It's kind of hard to speak extra politely without letting them. Like sometimes if you're extra polite, it's like flirty.
okay, not
David.
not David and not for girls. No, but like to smile, to be a little bit more polite, like a little bit more warm and friendly towards every interaction you have with people. Just like a little bit, or at least being conscious of it.
Or give a compliment to someone.
Melt the ice.
Right. I mean, that's what we were doing this past week by building on that. I mean, we have so many mundane interactions on the day to day. We interact with so many people, you know, rather than just saying like, you know, with a plain face, like a thank you, but like more of a warm, like, thank you so much.
No, that's so boring. I think that we should, I think that, no, like I like the idea, but like building up, I think that we should all be the reason like someone smiles each day. Because like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like give a compliment, whatever, but like something along those lines, something that'll genuinely make someone happy, you know?
Compliment me.
So what does that mean? What does that mean to make someone happy without flattery?
Like you don't have to give a compliment. Like if it's like you give them a ride or you offer to help them with their homework or you give them advice, you know, anything that you have the ability to give, like that's where humility comes in. Like when you have something that you're able to give and you use it, you know?
Okay, so you making people feel appreciated. What do you need to do for that?
I don't think that's what she's saying. I think she's saying more give something or whatever. Like look at your skills, look at your strong suits, and recognize like tying into humility that it comes from God and that it's on you to use that to give to other people.
Okay, but that requires that requires a lot of thought and effort to go out of your way for certain people. That on the day to day, that's way less than a person's mundane interactions. But if you're going to condition yourself to be conscious of humility, then it should be at a constant. Like I get what you're saying, to go out to like look inside yourself and say, okay, I'm going to go above and beyond for this individual, right? That could be challenging, but is that going to become habitual?
Yeah, I hear. Probably not. No.
Those are unique circumstances. While we could do that, right? I think it's more important to imagine if it catches on. Imagine if over time we just naturally become politer people. I know for myself, like I sometimes come off like very like this and not as bubbly. Not to say like bubbly is synonymous with being polite, but you know.
If you come off like this, it just means you're real.
What do you mean?
Like if you're saying you come off like this and not bubbly, not everything you say has to be bubbly. It's just straight up.
Oh, you're right. But I'm saying like I like putting in an effort to being a little bit more friendly, even, you know, as in when you come off like this, right? Some people have the, you know, I personally, I get this a lot. Oh, you hate me. You know, I feel like you hate me. Why would you think I hate you? When did I ever say that I hate you? No, you made it up on your own, but maybe you got it from the fact that I wasn't super warm and friendly. I wasn't extra polite with you, right? I didn't go over to say goodbye nicely. You know, it could be like when you're leaving yeshiva, like rather than just saying bye to your friends, you actually go over and say bye to everyone there, even if they're not your friends. You know, a little bit more of an effort on the mundane interaction.
I get that.
So why don't we do it like that for yeshiva? Everyone go up to one person who they're not friends with and either welcome them or wish them goodbye or something.
Yeah, but why stop at yeshiva? Why not everywhere? Every Jew that you interact with this week.
Okay.
No, I'm serious. Like going to wishing your siblings a good night. Like just putting a little bit more effort with each person, you know. T, I'm thinking of you.
I'm gonna write my brother a note and give him a kiss and then wish him good.
Yeah, for sure. No, let's try it. Let's try to be our best selves with every interaction we have, with every person we come in contact with this week.
Okay.
You
I'm
know?
game.
To each his own, but yeah, a little bit more of an effort, a little bit going out of the way to do something sweet.
It's a good idea.
Right? And trying to keep, in mind. I think that's the biggest challenge, is trying to keep it relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Definitely like it's also like treating everything that's like normal more special.
Good way to put it.
Because everything that is normal is special. And like, I think like, okay, like Shabbat, like it happens every week, but like always try to like, I don't know, I always try to make it special because it's like, it's
100%.
yes.
Actually, each one is very much unique. There are no repeats. Okay, Tay, you got your emoji game ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right.